Ever wonder what's the thrill inside Novak Djokovic that makes him the tennis champion we all love? It turns out it's the food that truly fuels a champion. And trust us when we say that it's a pretty strict diet. But it's that same diet that took him from regular mid-matches collapses all the way to a Grand Slam winning streak. So, what does the unbeatable champion eat on a typical day? Let's find out. First off, Djokovic wasn't always so diet conscious. In one of the most masterful seasons in the sport, Djokovic reigned supreme in 2011, followed by another 4 unbeatable years. Honestly, he's got such profound dominance in the sport, and it's hard to imagine a time when he wasn't a champion in the final and hoisting trophies right over his head. But if you're gonna chart the tennis champion's progress in the sport, you'll see that his early years were pretty much dogged with mid-match collapses, and that seemed to be a barrier to the success that he was definitely capable of achieving. While commentators and tennis players thought the issue was with his fitness, it wasn't until he consulted a nutritionist that everything started to change. And folks, that was the turning point for the tennis champion. Rewind back to 2010, and Djokovic came up against Wilfried Tsonga at the 2010 Australia Open quarterfinal. You might remember that despite taking a lead of 2-1, he suffered a pretty bad physical crisis. Talk about trouble breathing, being drained of strength, and violently vomiting during the toilet break. It was a lot. Having said that, Dr. Igat Setajevic, a nutritionist, was in the audience and immediately suspected that it might be because of an imbalance in his digestive system. And soon enough, the pair met for a consultation, after which Djokovic found out that he's sensitive to gluten and literally intolerant to wheat and dairy products. In fact, he was even mildly sensitive to tomatoes. All of this, and he never knew until the consultation a few years ago. Up next, Djokovic finally figured out the perfect diet formula. Honestly, all of these allergies and stuff, it's not what most people want to hear, and definitely not someone whose parents own a pizza restaurant. But don't underestimate his motivation to succeed, because from then on, he immediately cut out bread, cheese, and tomatoes from his diet permanently. How many of us would be able to do that overnight? Moving on, he went gluten-free for 2 weeks and felt the benefits immediately. In fact, he felt lighter, much more energetic, and even slept better than he did for years. So clearly that was enough motivation to keep him going and make the diet a permanent lifestyle. And fast forward to a year later, he was much healthier, alert, energetic, and mentally sharper. Now, here's what you need to know. The tennis champion follows a gluten and dairy-free diet. Adding to that, he even cuts out as much sugar as possible and likes to stick with veggies, beans, some white meat, fish, fruits, seeds, chickpeas, nuts, lentils, and healthy oils. Honestly, his dedication is pretty intense, but that's also what you'd expect from one of sport's greatest icons. In fact, even after winning a near 6-hour final against Rafael Nadal at the 2012 Australian Open, Djokovic had an innocent craving for chocolate. And let us remind you that at this time, he hasn't eaten any for 18 months. So, his physiotherapist thought that he deserved a treat and brought him a bar, but the Serb simply broke off one square and let it melt in his mouth, leaving the rest of the chocolate bar. What's more, he went on to write about his diet in his book, Serve to Win. Djokovic gave readers every bit they needed to know, literally all of the details. And if that wasn't enough, he even gave a sample 3 days from his diet, which we're going to tell you about right now. So, we're going to start off with day 1. You start your day off with water first thing out of bed. And for a nice sweet tooth and the hundreds of health benefits, take 2 tablespoons of honey. The last thing you've got for breakfast is muesli. That's also going to have organic, gluten-free rolled oats, raisins, cranberries, pumpkin seeds, and almonds. And there are snacks, but the healthy kind. So, right before lunch, take a nice gluten-free bread or crackers with avocado and tuna. Next, we've got lunch, and that's mixed green salad, gluten-free primavera, which is going to include rice pasta, summer squash, asparagus, courgettes, sun-dried tomatoes, and vegan cheese. Time for another snack in the afternoon. Not so fancy, but you've got an apple with cashew butter and melon. Finally, you have dinner with kale Caesar salad, some nice dressing, minestrone soup, and salmon fillets with roasted tomatoes and marinade. Up next, day 2. Jump to day 2 and drink a nice glass of water first thing out of bed. Move on to breakfast with 2 tablespoons of honey, a banana with cashew butter, and any other fruit you fancy. Plus, if that wasn't enough, take a mid-morning snack later, gluten-free toast with almond butter and honey. With that, have a nice lunch with mixed green salad and spicy soba noodle salad, which is gonna have gluten-free soba noodles and red bell pepper, cashews, basil leaves, and spicy vinaigrette. Next, if you feel like it, treat yourself to a fruit and nut bar and some fresh fruit. Moving on, finish day 3 with some nice tuna niçoise salad, tomato soup, and roasted tomatoes. Then comes day 3. If you've made it this far, we're proud of you. Now for the last one. You start off the day with water again and 2 tablespoons of honey. Finish up breakfast with gluten-free oats, bananas, and fruit. And if hunger strikes again before lunch, get rid of that craving with homemade hummus and apples. Next, you've got lunch, which will be a mixed green salad and some gluten-free pasta with powdered pesto, walnuts, and basil leaves. Follow that up with a snack later on, like avocado and gluten-free crackers course with another fruit. Moving on to dinner, you've got an appetizing meal full of fresh mixed green salad with avocado and homemade dressing, some carrot and ginger soup, and whole lemon roasted chicken. Yum! Not to mention, diet and exercise are the perfect duo for the tennis champion. In simple terms, he keeps both gluten and dairy products far, far away from his regular diet and tries to cut sugar wherever he can. At the same time, he replicates his dedication when it comes to exercise. In fact, Djokovic starts off with around 20 minutes of yoga or Tai Chi, after which he enjoys a healthy breakfast that gets him ready for the day. Next, he's gonna go to the court with a training partner for an hour and a half and top it off with some stretching to cool down. Next, he moves on to lunch, after which he does a 1-hour workout using weights or resistance bands. And of course, he follows that up with a protein drink immediately afterwards to help with recovery. Right after that, he goes for yet another 90-minute hitting session, topped off with some stretching to cool down. Yeah, we know what you're thinking. That's not practical for most people. In fact, many of us are out there renewing our failed New Year's resolutions to hit the gym and eat healthier. Honestly, it's hard and requires a lot of dedication to stick with a routine like this. But hey, we're also talking about Novak Djokovic here, and he's no ordinary person. Anyway, the key points to take away from his lifestyle are the timing of his exercises and his meals. He takes on food after his sessions and also stretches, which is pretty important to make sure that your muscles stay limber and you get rid of those nasty cramps. Finally, he's not just a tennis champion, but also a great chef at home. Yep, he cooks all his own meals, and he only focuses on his food when he's eating. Think about those kids who can't eat without looking at their phones or watching TV or something? Yeah, none of that here. Once he's eating, that's all he's gonna focus on. Because if you think about it, the new diet literally changed him. In fact, here's what he said. Physically, I couldn't compete. Mentally, I didn't feel like I belonged on the same court as the best players in the game. But then, lo and behold, I made some changes, and that transformed everything. With that said, it shouldn't be surprising to see him so dedicated to his diet. If anything, it's the diet that seemed to be the missing link. And when he found it, everything set right into place. In fact, he was much stronger, healthier, energetic, and just ready to get back out there and show everyone why he deserves to be the champion. At the end of the day, our lifestyle defines our entire life. It's what makes us strong enough to carry out our daily tasks, and in this case, fuels a champion. After all, we are what we eat, right? And that's a wrap for this video. What's your take on Novak Djokovic's diet and lifestyle? Are you gonna give it a try? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.